Greetings Internet, welcome to Aaron Plays. In this episode I'll be continuing Anzio by Avalon Hill, The Struggle for Italy 43 to 45. I am doing the basic game with the basic supplementary rules. This is turn 12 for the Allies and there are a total of 15 turns, so there's 4 more to go, including this one. The Allies are currently getting nowhere. So let's have a look at the situation on the board, and just a quick reminder, hit the like, subscribe if you haven't done so already, you like what I do, and again as always, comments appreciated. Let's go down. Hello there. Okay, so this is me when I was actually trying to edit all the links and join the videos together to make this episode, and one of the files that I copied across is corrupted, and there's the link between me going down onto the board and me starting to work out what the German defences were, which is pretty much the Allied start of the turn, looking at replacements, and also the key one, which is there an invasion. So what I did with the cards, because I think the Allied commanders probably like getting a little bit of het up now, is I removed, there was originally 15 cards in the deck, 4 of which were invasion sites. I then each turn drew one to the point that there was 12 cards left in the deck, and I've now decided to actually trim that and remove 4. So it makes the likelihood of the invasion coming ahead, because I'm viewing that as discussions in and around Shafe, as they realise that they're not making any progress. So that left now 8 cards in the deck, but I did remove also one of the invasion beaches from consideration. That's one where there's all the battles going on, and viewing it as not really useful to the situation. So there's now 3 cards of which are invasion, 5 which were non-invasion. Drew card, it was a non-invasion. So there was no invasion this turn, however, increasing the likelihood in subsequent turns. And that was all discussed, chatted, even made fun jokes with the cards and such forth. And yeah, the file's lost. Hence why you got me talking once, introducing the video, and then I'm talking again about when I even said we're going down the board. So that's it from me. We're now going down to the board, no, that's it. Hopefully that's it. Bye from me for now. Okay, so the strengths of the frontline units. This little yellow chap, all right, he's got a defense of 9. He's still sitting on the mountains. He's still behind the river. He hasn't been bothered at all by the Allies. They just do not have enough to, because 9, he's multiplied by 3 because he's behind the river and the mountains. That's 27 strength points. That's pretty much most of what the Allies have got in total. So, yeah, they're not going to bother this guy. The purple. Okay, well, there's 7 strength points in this hex and a fort, and they're doubled. So, that's 14 strength with a fort. The blue is also 7 strength points in a mountain, so doubled, 14. The orange is 8 strength points times 2, because he's sitting on a nice little mountain there. So that's 16. The white, now this is the weakest link, if anyone of you've seen that TV show. Okay, he's only got 4, and he's not on a road, he's not on a mountain, and he's not behind the river. He's on a sort of river confluence there. But he can only really be approached via 1 hex. So, but he's got defensive 4, so that is the weak point. The red here, he's got a nice strength of 9. Now, if he's attacked from these 2 hexes over here, he'd class behind the river. But if anything attacks him from this side here, Well, now that'll also be, he's still technically behind the river. So you actually have to be attacked from this hex to have the river not count, which would then mean the pink needs to be attacked, and the pink has got a defense of, I did write it down, but there we go, defense of 8 as well. So anything attacking from here would also have to attack to unhinge that defense. And you know what, you know, if you've been watching the other episodes, we've had a lot of little scuffles around this area. This is by far where most of the actions occurred. The Allies trying to drive towards this victory location here, whose name, Pescara, I keep mispronouncing, missaying and such forth. And if there are any Italian viewers, I do profusely apologise. Okay, so there are still 5 victory locations, none of which are particularly vulnerable. Casinos behind effectively this stalwart defence is here. This one here, right, is awaiting for an invasion if it does come in. There are 2 along this beachfront, and hence why there's, I wouldn't say there's a massive German garrison, because most of these units are quite weak, but at least there is a garrison. So there's Anzio and Rome. Now if invasion comes in here, that would probably be the target. And I'm probably, and we know there's no invasion this turn, so when I get to the Germans, I'm going to shift this unit to this location, to Anzio. Why I haven't done so earlier, I don't know, because that's actually a flaw in the defence. And the other beachhead up here, well, there's a defence of 2 there. It's not a massive beach, but it's vulnerable, but at least there is a garrison of some kind. So that's the front lines. We have got over here the Allied. This is effectively, apart from the little German air unit, this is Sicily. Okay, it would have been nice if they'd put a proper holding box on there, but hey ho. The Allies have got 4 replacements above and beyond what they have in these counters. They've got these 2 units here that are taking step losses, so that's going to be the first thing. They're going to get another 2 replacements for this turn. That takes them to 6, but I'm going to spend 2 of those, taking that to 4, to flip both of those units over. Okay, knowing that those 2 units can't be used this turn because they've just taken replacements. This is effectively the Anzio invasion force if it occurs, and then obviously the next turn we get in, as I showed you on that track at the top there, those extra additional units. Looking at what the Allies have got, they don't have that much strength. They've taken quite a lot of losses. Though I think we're going to continue with the efforts around here, though I think there might just be an attack on this hex. So let me zoom in rather than put my hands all over the situation. Okay. There's quite a few units that need to take some form of replacements, but we will get to do a 2-to-1 attack on that hex there. So we have the Americans advancing in for 4, and we want, that's an armored unit. Is there another infantry units? Yes. 4, 8 there. So that's going to be a 2-to-1 attack on that hex. Can't see it doing much other than causing a few losses. It can ignore retreats. It's got potentially 1 or 2 steps in that hex, but at least it continues the pressure. However, there are, as I say, a fair few allied units we need to pull back and take replacements. We have got off the screen an armoured unit. I think I'm going to start bringing it up into the area. See it coming in, that's 10 to there, that's 9. He can strap move 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So for 21 he actually gets there. Alright, so that's those two allied units moved there. He's the reconstituted armoured unit. Back up full strength, again denoted by the stacking value being on the left hand side of the counter. Okay, I'm going to get this New Zealander unit out of the front line. He needs to take some replacements, and also allows me not to be brain swaddled by the counter. So that was going to be 4, 8, 9, 10. Let's stick him up there, out of the way. But I will keep the green marker there, just to remind me that he is. Now, I'm assuming, I'll make an assumption here, but from memory, he will need to take a British replacement point. So we will bring that in at Napoli, and I'll move him by road. It costs nothing to bring it in by the port. Maybe a movement 1.1. Let's actually put them there. And as for normal, I'll put a little grey marker on to remind me that they will be taking a replacement point. There's another allied unit. I'm going to strap move him down towards Napoli and bring, what nationality is he? He's American, so we'll bring an American replacement counter. Oops, this is off screen, I do apologise. Let's zoom out. Bring an American again in Napoli. Stick a grey counter on. I do actually like the replacement system in this game. It's quite evocative. You've got to build a unit, work out you can't rush, they can't take more than one replacement per turn. And you've got to keep track of your losses very carefully, and it does create the lulls in the combat. This part of the front line, I can't see any requirement to move, so I'll just, as I say, there's not going to be a major push. We're having that attack at the on the white hex there. We've got another British unit. Is that British? An American unit here sitting with a lack of strength. Maybe pull them out of the line. So got to be at least 2 clear hexes. So that looks like a British and an American. So we've got those counters. So again, they arrive in Napoli. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're going to pull those guys out of the line. Make sure I'm not overstacking. I will be overstacking, so bit of R and R for those chaps. Now what we don't want to do is leave ourselves completely open to an attack. Knowing that we're not doing an invasion this turn and we've got reinforcements coming in, I'm going to bring in a new unit again in Napoli. And let's do the allied version of the frontline shuffle. So this unit comes in, takes over the garrison duties of this guy. This guy moves along, relieves him from his garrison duties. I know I'd already twisted these guys, but I've just had that thought. He will move into there for 1, actually 4 for the road, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Wasn't adjacent, hasn't started adjacent. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 actually relieves him. We'll put this guy. We can't go there because that's obviously adjacent, so we'll stick him there. If the Germans do attack, which I doubt, he'll get the double defense anyway. Remembering the onus of attack is on the Allies in this game. We've got an armoured unit sitting there. Do we want to do any? Well, we've just brought him in, haven't we? That's why he's twisted. Okay. We need to obviously make sure this guy doesn't get surrounded and isolated. So we will maintain. Well, that's not a great frontline unit, is it? Let's put that armoured unit there. Can't then go into this hex because then we'd have to attack. I think that's about it. Yeah, that concludes the Allied movement. So let's okay, so complete the movement, taken the replacements. So there's 4 Allied replacement counters taken off the board. Just zoom out a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to bring these back in here and use up those there. So they actually now have no replacement counters, and we do remember we took those replacements. So effectively the Allies use 6 replacements in 1 turn. That's the kind of losses they've got. The only reserves they now actually have are the 1, 2, 3, 4 replacement counters, 5 replacement counters there, and I presume there must be one on the board somewhere. There is. He's sitting here. But, and there's still, these guys need another set of replacements to build them back up to full strength for that final push, probably in the last couple of turns. Anyway, so let's zoom in on where there's only going to be 1 attack this turn, which will be on this hex here. So there's 8 attacking. There's no river defense, as I said. So it's 8 to 4 with a fort. So it's 2 to 1. Shift it over to the, where's the dice box? Oh, there it is. Can you see that? Yay. Okay, rolling the dice. Oh, of course, it's gone off camera. There it is. It's a 2. Back to the action. Yes, I could have zoomed out. But, hey. So 2 to 1 with a 2 is 1 loss of the Germans and a retreat. Well, we know they don't have to retreat because they're in the fort, but it is a loss to the Germans and no loss to the Allies. So which German formation is this? It's the 94th Infantry. He's on to his last step. And he will have to attack. So, yeah, interesting. Well, as there was no retreat, there's no advance. Can't do a second combat, so that ends the Allied turn. So let's bring you back up. So not much happening. There was an attack. German step loss, which they can obviously replace, but it's means they've got to do something in that area. The Allies taking replacements, hoping for a second invasion, because that front line in most places is too strong for the strength they had, because they've taken quite a few losses. So the Allies did take 6 replacements. That's something that the Germans just cannot do. Probably another turn of replacements, and then a probable final push on the last 3 turns, 2 or 3 turns, to try and take at least one of those objectives, and hopefully the Anzio landing will come in. So I hope you enjoyed that. So it's not dramatic. There's not vast movements of panzers smashing through lines. It's a slog. but it does represent the campaign and the history very, very well. So until next time, when we do the German Turn 12, bye internet.